Hello everybody, this is Kyo here. Now, amongst everything for this update, we will have to go through quite a few things, ranging from mobs, items, some small different changes to some devil fruits, new NPCs, and of course your favorite, bosses. I would like to add a disclaimer here. This is the public test build, meaning some textures are not in, and some bugs may be apparent. Now otherwise, let's start. So the first thing I want to showcase before we get to our items is the new GUIs of the mod. So by going into the actual combat menu, you will be greeted with this. We now have some new icons for buttons. The rest of the menu is still very simplistic, but it's always nice for stats. The major thing is the new ability sheet. As you can see, this has an entire rework. Each tab is a little bit different, but it's quite nice. On top of this, character creator, whenever you're first booting up the world and create your character or use this book, also got a upgrade for its visuals. So you can go through and select anything you want just like normal. You can pick your race and so on, and so forth. Same with your fighting style, just like normal, just a nice upgrade. So now that that is finished, let's start with our items. So the first thing I'm going to go through is the new weapons. We now have some generic weaponry that you can find in any loot. NPCs also use these weapons, along with their new combat system. So we're going to go through quickly, select them all of the basic ones. Now you'll notice that some oldies in here, like the cannon and original guns are in here. Little tip. These have been changed and the cannon has been entirely overhauled, plus some new weaponry, but we'll get to that. So each weapon has its own attack speed and damage amount. Of course, some being slower and harder hitting than others, some being extremely quick if you want to be British or anything. Haha, little joke. Or is it? Yeah, I'm coming for you. Otherwise, the spear works very similarly to a trident now, which is really nice. So if I throw it, it won't return to me. I can go over and pick it up though, and I can enchant it. So if you equip it with loyalty, for example, oh wait, let me go to creative here. If you equip with loyalty, for example, it will actually go through and come back to you. Boop. Quite nice indeed. You can add other enchantments on top of this to make it much more tanky, but that's up to you. On top of this, weaponry, especially this basic weaponry, can be dyed. It looks extremely nice as both an item and in hand. You can dye it to anything you really want. Each weapon's a little different. Some of them are quite big, of course, such as the Bicento, but yeah, it is chunky. Let's get on to the actual guns and the new weaponry. Pistols all the way to bazookas, Senriku, and Walker got changed sound-wise. They sound way better, and since NPCs use these weapons as well, you'll end up hearing them far in the world. Same with our abilities too. A lot of sounds got changed up to where you can tell via their direction and how far away they are via loudness. It's quite nice. On top of this, we also have the cat claws and maybe some other weaponry from bosses and famous One Piece villains, even if they're smaller. It's quite nice, has an extremely fast attack speed as showcased, and some decent damage. You can use a net, charging it up with holding right click. Now, whenever you do go through and net them, you can pick them up like so, and throw them in water or put them down anywhere else you might want. You also have Cardio Seeking Nets. So if you want to go through and catch a devil fruit user, you can. Nope, he's mine. Nope, he's mine. He is mine, not yours. Not yours. No, no, no. I'm stealing your friend.
Give him back! He's mine!
Oh. But yes. Now, on top of this, we also have the rework of cannons. They are now entities rather than blocks. But yeah, you can left click to fire. On top of this, by pressing controller or whatever you have the button set to, you can then move around with it. And hit it again to just aim and fire. Either way, you can fire with it. But I prefer like aiming properly and then doing it so you don't end up destroying stuff. Next up, we are going to be going over some other stuff for cannons right here as well. So, tangerines are one of the new food items we've added in, along with cooked seeking meat. So the base seeking meat is quite bad now. It's not exactly that good. But the new variation gives you a lot of saturation and food is showcased, and a very slight amount of regen. But compared to the original seeking meat, it is quite nerfed. Tangerines, though, or tangerines, whatever you want to call them, can be put on the ground just like berries and grown through 5 stages until completion. Right-clicking will give you new ones, and they go back to stage 3. You can find these in most structures now, which is a very nice change. On top of this, we have the Striker. The Striker is the ship that Ace uses, and is actually quite fun. You either need a flame dial to power it, or the Marinara no Mi, and whoever rides it last will have their ship, or in this case their crew icon, pop up on it. Wanted poster packages got to change as well. Via breaking them, they have a chance of getting you a boss poster. Right-clicking this will unlock the challenge. In this case, I already have all 14 bosses unlocked. And completing a normal boss will unlock hard mode. I'll showcase the bosses in the future. But for now, let's go on with the rest of the items. Explosive handcuffs work just like normal ones. Put them in your offhand, down a mob, and they will immediately equip it. This also applies to players. If someone tries to unlock the handcuffs with a key now, the handcuffs will explode. So either you have to wait peacefully until the handcuffs go off on their own, as in like, you know, when they pop off, or you can try your luck and survive an explosion, but it's up to you. On top of that, we've added in X-Soul pouches. In this case, this is a really high level one considering how much is on this. Utilizing the pouch command, you can then select whatever number you want, or the all button to select everything you have, and select your currency type. As you know, X-Toll is the currency used by Skypians. We wanted to add a fun way for merchants, whether you're a player or not, to be able to use them. We also have new clothing. So I'm going to go through and equip some of this new clothing. As you notice, the straw hat has also been changed. You can go through with its new model and color it. This works just like anything else in this mod currently that's dyeable, just like leather armor. So yeah, you can go through and dye your straw hat any color you want. Quite nice. We have Mr. 3's clothing, which is not on my eyes apparently. I do have more anime style eyes, so fair enough. And it gives you a bow tie. You got Mr. 5's, crocodiles, Arlongs, and the pirate captain cape that is dyeable, of course, even though it's been in this mod for a while. I don't remember if the dyeable system was added for it yet. Mr. 5's, crocodiles, which is pretty nice if I must say so myself, even if it is simplistic. Where am I? Well, great to know. I'm killing everything over here. Yeah, don't mind me. I'm just fixing an issue. We'll just dispose of this and yeah, no one needs to know. Yeah, no one needs to know about that. But yeah, you have quite a bit of drip now, as showcased with Crocodile's new outfit, along with Arlon's clothing, if I can find the rest somewhere I threw in here. And that looks pretty nice, especially whether it's from the back or the front. It does have the mid shirt open, which is quite nice as well. So, plenty of different clothing types. You have the classic pirate cape, which is dyeable. I don't know if this was a feature previously, but just in case I am showcasing it. And now I'm ready for war. But yeah, it's up to you. The clothing is quite nice. There's a bunch of clothing I haven't gone through, like Pearl's armor, which gives you an ability, and some other random stuff, like Law's hat and Killer's mask. And now I'm going to showcase the Striker off. So the Striker in general has to either be powered via flame dials, or the Mera no Mi, like I said earlier. And its movement is actually better than that of a normal ship. Now you might see below me, two different animals have been added in for aquatic life. We have the panda shark and the sea cow. Now these boys are quite interesting. Both will attack nearby fish. They'll eat usually a decent amount and the rest will float to the top for the player to obtain. Unlike panda sharks though, sea cows are extremely easy to kill the player. So watch out for any spin attacks. As you can see, I have the collection of devil fruits. Not every devil fruit that's been somewhat altered. They have received either visual changes, such as Goro Goro no Mi, both icon-wise for its fruit and the powers, but also some small changes like Gomu's Gatling getting a rework, along with some of the gears feeling smoother, Gasu flight in general, along with Moku Moku no Mi and Suna's flight, Mera getting a new move and a change to some of its old moves, and some new particle effects, and even a flight system that's been added in. A little bit of a counterbalance for stuff like this. So, boop, let's get it going. So, we're going to go through and showcase the normal mobs off first. So, starting off with the Banana Wana, which I've already spawned in. So, you can feed these guys pork chops and then give them a saddle to ride them. So, if I right click, well, I just made a child. Don't mind that. So they can be rode on, and they're quite decently fast on land, but they also can enter water. So it's a little showcase. So they're quite nice for some water and land travel. You can use them a lot for roleplay. Next up, we have the Wandering Dugongs. Now these guys come in a different form and size, depending on their scars and, eye patches and hockey. Generally, the Wandering Dugong have searched around quite a big area for fights, trying to prove themselves the strongest. Think of them like normal Dugong, but they just go through and break off from the herd. Now, this does make them aggressive. After all, they have the scars to prove it. Also, every Dugong has a chance to drop Nautilus shells, which we are going to be adding in crafting recipes for dials using that. Really nice changes. Next up, I'm going to be saving the legendary... Well, great to know they love to teleport me using my own teleportation pads. How annoying. The boxing Dugong like to go through and roam around the world very similar to the other Dugongs. Same with the wrestling Dugongs. Now, unlike the boxing ones, they do have a different texture and appearance. Well, what happens if I were to tell you we've added in turf wars? Yeah, so both the wrestling Dugongs and boxing Dugongs, they don't like each other. So you might end up seeing them going through and fighting if they end up getting close to one another. Now they can use different moves depending on what they do. They're quite fun to watch and very funny. Next up, we have, I'll do the super spotted build ducks. Yep, they have sound effects. First thing they'll ever notice in their life, and you might want to kill them for it. Yes, I know. You can feed them seeds to tame them. After you tame them, you can equip a saddle on them. They are extremely fast, and just like horses, you can jump with them. Now, whenever they fall down, they start to do a small glide. This is to help to reduce impact when they land. Excuse me, a frog in my throat. Now, what's very unique for them is, just like horses, they have breeding statistics. You heard me right. By using them properly, you can go through and breed them with other various super spotted build ducks to give them more HP, faster running speed, better jumps, so on and so forth. Of course, if they take damage, well, different screeches. Very funny. Next up, we actually will have these two. The Blue Gori and the Balagori are from Impel Down. and they love to attack things. Whether it's swinging an axe right onto your cranium and opening up your skull like it's a fucking Fruit Loop. And one of the second final things on our list is the White Walkie. You normally end up finding these in snowy biomes, such as the top of those mountains, for example, or in snowy tundras. I really like these guys because they actually have a lot of stuff they can do, similar to donkeys. By going through and tame them with some form of meat, because they do enjoy meat, you can use pork chops, pretty much most things. Once tamed, you can right-click them with a saddle, and then use chest on them on both sides to give them storage. So these are really nice because if you shift right-click it, you can access its new storage capabilities, and you can normally ride it. Of course, you can't access the inventory while you're on it. It's a nice little addition. Let alone roleplay reasons, it's fun enough. They close their little eyes, they wiggle their head, and they even go to sleep. Even dugongs got an animation upgrade, forming a little bubble on their nose when they go to sleep. It's really nice. And laying on their bellies. Next up, you got the Master Dugong. As you see, he's a little bit of an old man. He's experienced many wars, and is about to cause another heresy. Oh my god. Other than that, they will actually give you new trials. Now, of course, you can also access your normal trials, because he is a master, and he's a universal one as that. But you also have 3 new trials. Now, I have already unlocked them via commands, hence why they're not there. But the new moves he unlocks is Empty Hands, Knockdown, and finally, the ability Command. So, those are the normal mobs you can end up finding in the world, both the aquatic ones and the land ones. Well, he's gonna go start another war. The abilities are quite fun as well. I'm gonna be showing you that here in a second, and then after that, maybe a couple fruits. Not too many. Okay, so for these 3 abilities, plus some other things such as the new Devil Fruit changes, the one thing I'm going to showcase first, number 1, you have Knockout. So let me make sure I have it active, same with Empty Hands. So let's say I go through and I'm trying to kill someone, or an NPC, it knocks them out and leaves them on the ground. Now, really, PETA, don't sue me here. So yeah, you can go through and pick up different animals and mobs and run around with them. It's kind of funny picking up llamas because they're such a weird shape. But then you can go through and like throw them in water or throw them anywhere else. You can go through and get your friends out of the water if they're devil fruit users, or you can pick up your enemies and run away with them. So on, so forth. It's just very, very fun. Or even just doing sparring sessions and you don't want to kill your friend. Other than that, you also have Empty Hands. So let me throw down a grass block for an example. So I don't want an item in this slot. I don't want it in my hotbar in general. So with Empty Hands active, every item you pick up will be put in your inventory. Now, if your inventory runs out of space, for example, your hotbar will not fill up, items just won't be picked up in general. It's extremely, extremely useful for fighting styles such as Brawler or Blackleg, which need an empty slot, along with just making it less cluttered in your hotbar to begin with. So it's a nice addition. Now we have the command skill, and this is why I switched to a marine. So amongst everything, I'm going to start out with some simple grunts. By using the command skill, as a leveled up marine with good loyalty, I can control them. Now, if you are a pirate or a Revolutionary Army member, you can go through and control other things such as mobs you have befriended, such as the Banana Wana or the Dugongs, for example. If you beat them in a fight, they become your friends. These grunts are quite decent. They know some skills, so on and so forth. I'll showcase that here in a second. So, for example, grunts are quite basic. Sometimes they can know some skills. Sometimes they can go through and just use guns. It just depends. Grunts are very basic. Only some of them have changed. Their stats have changed, though, which is nice. We're going to be using some marine brutes to fight. Some of them can know some skills. Some of them can have good knockback, such as him firing a cannon using his bazooka, or him firing some bullets, so on and so forth. It depends. Now, brutes are more likely to have moves, so here I'll just go through and have them fight for me. But yeah, fights can get kind of crazy. Yeah, like that one right there just used a brawler technique to spin his foe around. Now let's focus on some more fun ones. Captains. Captains, of course, know every skill possible. and know how to go through and throw like sword beam attacks, such as the one that's already a creator here from earlier in testing. They know how to go through and use Soryu and the sword beam, Shishi Shunsun, however you pronounce it. The one where you dash forwards. And it's really cool seeing them fight. Yep, there's another sword attack where they jump in the air. There's Tekai as well. Yeah, they just obliterated them. And then finally, Pacifistas. Oh god. Yeah, they know how to shoot lasers out of their mouth. Have even a little animation for it. But yes, Pacifistas are quite fun because you can also even control them. So I can have them follow me. They're also extremely tanky. If they get close to you, they'll do an M1 with some damage that are quite nice. Otherwise, I think if you exit about 10 blocks worth of range, they'll fire their beam. So as a Marine, it is super fun. And even if you're not a Marine, if you're a pirate, your little friend, the Dugongs, will be your trusty friends. And then, pretty sure I have to go through, yeah, none of them are going to be listening to it at first. Yep, if they have their hands up, they're ready to become your friend. Hey guys, go murder that pirate! Some of them even have hockey sometimes. Oh my god. They just slaughter the local population. And yeah, they'll like do some jumps and stuff and like little hand waves and little fist bumps. It's funny. Now next up on our list, we're going to be doing some devil fruits. And also showcasing some other changes to fighting styles. So yeah, as you probably have noticed, I have now gone through and collected a couple devil fruits along with a character creator, so I can go through and showcase all the different changes we've made. Now, there are a lot of other devil fruits, and I mean a lot of others that have been changed. So I just grabbed some that got a decent prominent change or some really cool effects. So starting out with Gordo Gordo no Me, hopefully this doesn't kill me. So first things first, Elthor. Every single move got a color change. Elthor's got a more prominent change to, well, showcase what it's going to end up doing. In this case, I don't think it hit anything. It's supposed to create a massive hole like the one over there, but yes. So Elthor got a color change and a little bit less destructive so it doesn't destroy everything. This move right here, Kari. Now, you might notice like it doesn't do too much. It does create a little explosion for any mobs around you and catches them on fire. But the major thing that move does now is it stops projectile attacks. So while it's activated, you can go through and neutralize attacks in the air even, because it even keeps you in the air. So like if I teleport up, and then use it. Oh, that's right, I forgot that he removed that. Huh, a little bit of a change even I didn't notice. I bet a lot of you might be like, holy hell, what is this hole I've been seeing this whole time? Well, first off, it's not a normal version of Raigo. Here's the normal iteration of Raigo you can use anytime. It's quite small and, you know, creator-wise, it's quite small. However, I'm going to go over here as a showcase so I don't destroy everything. If the weather is set to thunder, you can either use a new enhanced Raigo, or you can use Mamaraga, or Mamaragan. Either way, I'm not using Mamaragan because that lasts for 40 whole seconds, as you can see. So I'm just going to use normal Raigo that's in a thunderstorm. You have to charge it up, but you can pre-release it after a couple seconds. I'm going to let it fully charge up. And you can tell how big it gets. It's like so much bigger than the original size. When this thing touches the ground and gets about halfway in, you better be prepared to run. I mean, run long beforehand, even that. When this happens, you're most likely not going to survive. But yeah, Raigo is extremely dangerous. And excuse the floating fire, I don't know why it's causing that. Bit odd, a little bit of a glitch visually. Sengo looks the same, just, you know, yellow now. So the one thing I'll notice is, here, I'll just go through and do it like on the ground because it's going to be better. Oh wait, I forgot my health is low. So as you can see, my health is like right now at 90. So while my health is at 90, or in this case, if it's lower than maximum, depending on how much lower it is compared to your max amount of health, Spark Step will get worse and worse. This also applies to every teleportation move like Pika's. This stops people from abusing it and just running a mile away, healing up, and coming right back in before you even have a chance. Now, of course, let's say I'm full health. There we go. Yeah, look how much further this is, all the way from over there to here. So, yeah, it's more like a quality of life thing or an early combat thing. It's still useful to like teleport out of bad situations though. The next move is called Vivari. It has 4 settings: 1 million, 20 million, 100 mil, 200 mil. In this case, we're going to use the max one because I am not testing anything else with this. The higher it is, the more damage it does, but also the longer the cooldown. I see that's 30 whole seconds. I think abilities do knock you out too, it just depends on the ability. Next up is the final move, Vault Amaru. Now, most people know this move because you need to have drums to access it normally. Now you do not. So yeah, the transformation into it looks good. The transformation itself needs a lot more work, I will say. In this form, you're way tankier and your moves should do more damage. Next up, we have Gomu Gomu no Mi. I'm just going to speed through this one real quick, just showcasing what it does. So the first thing I will say is that for Gomu Gomu no Mi, Gear 5 can only be unlocked via commands currently, and Gear 5 is nowhere near complete. So do not be yapping in the comments section, or yapping anywhere else on Discord, being like, oh, but where's Gear 5? That has to be done properly. Otherwise, let's go through and use Gomu. Now, you will need proper hockey on this to make it really useful, because in this state, whenever it's, in this early variation, like whenever you're really weak, it's not that useful. However, once you get some hockey and you start training your hockey, it gets better and better. Now, the major thing they got to change on Gomu, even though the pistol does feel a little bit better, is Gatling. So as you can see, Gatling no Mi, whatever you want to call it, or the Gatling no Mi move, is so much better. So let me just summon in some pirate NPCs, like some grunts. Now normally, it doesn't do too much, but then you throw in some hockey. Yeah, that feels amazing, I'm not gonna lie. Now Gear 2nd with it feels awesome and looks cool. When it comes to using Gomu, it feels so much smoother now. Because this applies to your 3rd gear and everything else. I'm not going to show off everything, that's more for you guys to figure out. But yeah, Gomu feels amazing, especially its Gatling gun. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you know Blackbeard and his fruit. So the first thing I'm going to show off is the new animated particle. Every Logia now has some new animated particle effects. And Yami... Oh, push-ups. Forgot these guys can do random animations like that. Go, 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 go! So yeah, this effect looks amazing. Well, they're all dead. Kind of expected that. So the attack will go through and spread out evenly. And we'll have these really cool particles. Now, either one, you can go through and absorb it using the variation on Liberation to, absorb blocks and add it to your amount down here. Or you can release it now, reverting the blocks back to their original source. It looks really nice, and you don't have to worry about it. So if you want to go somewhere and absorb the terrain, you can, and if you accidentally Yami your base, you can undo it. Of course, not every move can go through and be undone. I mean, if I do it like this, and then undo it. Yeah, no, that doesn't undo it. That's sad. But yeah, it's mainly for the massive one that, absorbs the whole area. But it's pretty nice. The animated particles make all the moves look better, and the upgrade to these moves definitely is nice, for quality of life. So next up, Mera no Mi. Now this one got a couple nice changes, I'm not gonna lie. Now not every move got changed on this, besides the new particles. For example, the Heat Dash, which looks really nice. So a lot of these moves stayed similar, like a lot of them did. Yeah, but it's mainly Entai that got changed. So now, rather than being a projectile, it's a charge-up attack similar to the Paw move. Now, even though the Paw is a projectile, this one will slowly charge up. You want to make sure it's an open area, so that way you don't destroy it. And then via releasing it, it will create a massive explosion. around the user. Of course, it won't hurt you, but it will hurt everyone else. Now you might be like, oh, but I liked it as a projectile. That made it fun. I could actually use it in combat. Don't worry, we made a whole new mode for it. So as showcased, now, if any of you guys know about this certain cover manga per se, this is canon to One Piece. We actually have that new move where he summons 3 fire dragons. Here, I'll do it down here for looks. So you create a fire tornado around you, and about 3 dragons go through and summon. Now this is really cool because based off where you're aiming, they'll intersect. A showcase. So like for example, I don't like you. See? And boom. But yeah, the Mara no Mi, besides particle effects, got that really nice update for that move. Next up, we're going to go for Phoenix. Now, just like Patera, or Pterodon, whatever you want to call it, this one got a bit of a change. One, it got a regeneration nerf. You heard me right. The regeneration got nerfed. So basically it makes it where long term, regeneration will get worse and worse during a battle. Now, besides this, we also have the flight bar. Now, the way this one works, it works universally between this fruit and Pterodon, as well as, Goro's flying Amaru form, Voltamaru. If you have full health, it will never go down. Meaning you never have to worry about it, see? However, let's say you take damage, for example. Let's go through and summon in a grunt. I keep on forgetting I need to summon in the captain. They're just so weak. Okay, we'll just stop there. I think that's a good place. Okay, so as you can see, I'm about 180 HP and out of 250. I am losing about 1.5 points, I think, per second. So like if you only take a little bit of damage, you'll lose like 0.1 per second, which is really small. But like so far right now, I'm losing about 1.5 points per second. So, eventually I am gonna have to land, and then it'll start refilling really quick. Now you might be like, oh, what happens if you take even more damage and get down to like 100 HP or even 50? Well, say goodbye to flying, because if you think this is bad, where like you see how much smaller it is now that I've regained some health using my regeneration, it just becomes worse and worse and worse. So like, for example, let me just go over here. Yeah, so let me just go through and get a lot of damage. Okay, that's all. So now if I start flying, doesn't really matter my form, by the way. See how fast it starts going down? So yeah, the entire idea behind it is you cannot go through, I'm gonna remove it, you cannot go through and abuse your flight anymore. You have to go through and use it properly. So those are some of the fruit changes. Now let's get on to some fighting style adjustments. Let's go through the fighting style, shall we? We're gonna go human and we're gonna go blackleg. So the first thing I'm gonna go through, let's just grab Concuss, for example. They got a change. We're gonna grab Skywalk, Bar Table Kick Course, Extra Hot Cheese, Dal Jumbe. I think that's a good combo for now. Now the other moves didn't get too much of a change, so I'm not gonna show them off too much. I think Grill Shot may have got a projectile, I don't remember. But we'll show it off with some brutes. So first things first, you're gonna notice Skywalk feels entirely different. It is now omnidirectional, so based off where you're looking, you'll fire in that direction when used. Now this is really useful for doing combos. So next up on the list we have Concuss. This lasts 3 seconds in air and you have to land with it. Why do they keep on doing the button press? Why? Now Extra Hot Cheese is okay as showcased. It got an improvement in terms of how it's used. It's not as good as Gatling. That is until you used Dial Jumbe. Now Dial Jumbe makes the move a lot better. It goes much further and creates fire. You can go through and combo it with a lot more attacks. Now it's still not nearly as good as Gatling, which hits more consistently, even though the damage got changed around to make it fair. I think it's quite fun, especially compared to its old counterpart that would end up missing even more hits. Now Geppo works the same way as it originally did. However, both received a massive nerf to their vertical, their vertical amount. So like if I used Skywalk all the way up, I can't even reach the clouds. Now Geppo barely can touch the clouds and maybe a pinch over it. but no longer can you abuse the actual Skywalker Geppo to get so far up so within like 3 clicks, which was insane. So now people can actually hit you on the ground a lot easier. Now, I know that amongst everything here, Minks also got a change, though I don't know too much about it. I know Sulong got a massive change, so I guess we'll showcase that. What are we? We're Swordsman, that's the worst combo. So, Sulong still is activated by the full moon. That has not been changed, sadly, personally. I think... Oh god, kill me now. Yeah, this is why we're adding in the ability to choose, because the first thing I'm doing is removing this bloody muzzle off me, because that looks ugly as hell. But yeah, during a full moon, so I'm going to set it to night. Well, midnight in this case. So first off, you get a white aura. The parts also are supposed to turn white via texture to mimic Sulong's transformation. And you're also supposed to be getting particles, but those are visual improvements that have to happen later. This is a public test build, like I said. But yeah. You'll notice that Sulong lasts very short. However, you can use it multiple times during night. So for example, let me go through and clear the reset. It lasts for about 15 seconds. Now during this, your moves are quicker, they do more damage, they go through and recharge quicker. Like, basically during Sulong, all your moves are buffed to hell. Otherwise, also by the way, Electric Claw does not take any uses. Now you might be like, oh, what do you mean uses? So what I mean by that is, while Electric Claw is on, you can see on the bottom there it has 9 stacks. Meaning every time we go through and use it, it uses a stack. Now it doesn't count for M1s or anything, of course, which are good for stunning. But yeah, that's more of a glitch. That's not supposed to be spammable. But yeah. Actually, no, it is supposed to be spammable because it uses your stacks. I forgot about that. But yes. It's quite nice though, because you can go through and just use it properly like this. Now every move uses a different amount of stacks, which you can read about now. If you didn't notice, by the way, during this demonstration, every single move, no matter what your class is, now has stats you can see, statistics. Now in order to enable these, you can just go through and do your normal enabling for tooltips, like, you know, for classic weapons in Minecraft. And besides just tooltips, it also shows you move tips. I'm going to turn back on the claw. I think this move takes 2. Oh, it takes 3, that's what it was. But yeah, it does quite a bit of damage. I'm pretty sure all these moves can be imbued with hockey. A lot of them can, yeah, geez. I think the new version of Sulong is definitely an improvement because it does more damage. I wish, sorry, not Sulong, I meant to say Mink. I wish Sulong, though, was better, like you could use it for longer during the night, instead of it going on cooldown. Like, even if it got a nerf to its, like, buffs and just lasts way longer, I'd be happy with it. But in general, I think it's a nice improvement compared to old Minks. Other than that, I know, Cyborgs, I think, got a nerf to their Cola Overdrive and no longer giving regen. Swordsman moves got a bit of a change here and there. I don't know exactly what, so I won't showcase that. That's more for you to learn. But yeah, Doctor's got a new move with Virus Zone, both Mummy Virus and Ice Oni Virus. I'm not going to use this because it will crash my game, like I said earlier, but it's a nice showcase. And even Art of Weather got a buff. Art of Weather got a nice change up, so I'll just do these moves for now. I'm not going to showcase everything off, but I will showcase the buffs. So if I use Art of Weather for this move, let me just fire it at him. Yeah, the move is actually pretty strong now, which is a nice change up. But yeah, and then also, Gust Sword also got an increase. Number 1, it fires way more now. And on top of this, if you noticed, the cooldown for it is extremely short. It also does a decent amount of damage, and I'm pretty sure that can be imbued. Yeah, it can be imbued with hockey, I'm pretty sure. Here, we'll go through and test it. Yep, it gets imbued with hockey, I just saw that. Art of Weather in general got a nice buff. It's not perfect, it's still somewhat clunky, but it's definitely better than it used to be. Now, besides fighting styles, fruits, and mobs, and everything else, I think we should get down to some other smaller details, and finally, the challenges that you all have been waiting for. Before we get to the challenges, we also have flags. Now these flag items, here I'll grab one real quick, come in the base size small. However, surrounding this in wool, here I'll showcase on this, surrounding this in wool will get you a bigger flag. They go from small, medium, large, and huge. Now whoever has put this down previously, their crew symbol or their faction symbol, depending if you're a Marine or a Rev, will appear on these. Now, on top of this, these can also be set on fire. Now, for the spirit of this, now with the changes, you can see we have a small, medium, large, and huge flag. These will automatically have NBT data on them, meaning they'll always be this size after you've upgraded them. And of course, if you want to pull an Usopp, you can use the sniper move or some other moves to set things on fire. Reminder, there might be some bugs, so some moves, maybe even Mara moves, might not set them on fire. Blame Wind, not me. I tried checking them, blame him. Amongst everything, you can set these things on fire with either a fire charge or a fireball, whatever. So flame dial, you can go through and set each one of them on fire. This creates a really cool effect of the flag actually burning down. This might cause a bit of lag, especially the big one. And you will not get the item back, by the way. Now, if you do break the item before it fully burns, you will actually get the item back. The recipe to actually get them is just going through using some woolen sticks. Doesn't matter on the color. In order to actually obtain bosses, you either have to do wanted poster packages and break them. You find those in structures, or you can go through and have them randomly spawn above you and fall down. That is kind of randomized via time. When you obtain them, you can break them, and they have a chance for any of the boss posters to pop up. Now, in the future, we might go through and make it to where they drop them in a near order. Not perfect, but nearby. So, like, maybe the next 3 bosses in line will go through and be dropped as wanted posters rather than any of them. But that is up to Wind. He might just make it forever where it's randomized and you have to unlock them over time. Reminder, it does not matter if you unlock them in order, because if you can't beat them to begin with, it does not matter. Besides that way, you can also go through and use the classic Poneglyph way, bring it to a librarian, so on and so forth, and obtain yourself a boss. I prefer the wanted posters, it's a lot smoother. Now, after you go through and get said wanted posters unlocked, and you go through and obtain the bosses, you can go in your stats menu. Usually it's on the far right here, but I currently have the crew off because I'm a Marine. So you'll notice here and there's some quote-unquote hard bosses. So whenever you first select a boss, you'll notice its difficulty, your personal best time beating it, and the time limit. Eventually, the hard modes on these bosses will eventually be a button you can select that will turn them into the hard mode variations. Now, that is so that way we don't clutter the boss inventory up, but for now it will not have that. After all, we are still kind of in early phase. Even then, like, it's 14 bosses so far total, with 2 modes each. So eventually when we go through another boss update, we will go through and fix that, so we don't have like 5 billion hard mode variations. So here you can go through and select your friends. If you are a fellow Marine, you can select any Marine to come with you, and then they can agree to it. And if you're a pirate, if they're in your crew, you can invite them, up to 4 players. So normally you'd select it and a list would pop up. In this case, there's no one here because I am lonely in single player. So after that, you press start, the challenge will start generating. Now the arenas are not done. I will warn you. Oh, we're looking up to hell. There we go. That's funny. Now whatever items you bring in, you'll end up keeping on you. In this case, I don't have anything. But if you go through and cheat yourself some items in during a challenge, like for example some Marine clothing or something, which I'll throw in the boots too to make a complete set, you will lose everything on you if you go through and cheat it and be a creative during a boss battle. It saves your data beforehand and then gives you rewards. Now reminder, I will lose this after this because I didn't equip it beforehand. Or in this case I didn't. Oh no. So bosses will know moves and will be able to attack you and speed up and chase you quite well. Now he is the lowest boss you can fight. So in this case, he is extremely weak, as you can see. Now bosses can have different stages depending on the boss. For example, he has 2 health bars. First one being pretty low with only 50 HP. So on and so forth. Now you can destroy the arena all you want. The arena will regenerate the next time you fight him. This stops things from happening that are a bit annoying. Yeah, you are not getting away. I also advise turning knockout off because it can affect your time. Now, of course, any blocks you break here will not drop them, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they won't drop items. So when you defeat a boss for the very first time, depending on the star ranking, you'll get a certain amount of Dorky and Belly, along with unlocking the hard mode variation. Now, a little tip here. I don't remember what hard mode gives besides more Dorky and some Belly. I think it might give Hockey EXP, but I can't be for certain. I don't normally fight them because they're extremely difficult, even this one. We'll kick it up a notch and do Don Krieg. After that we'll do Arlong, and finally Mr. Zero. And I bet anyone who's watched the show up to that point knows who I'm talking about. Oh no, I am low on HP. It's fine though, it starts you off with max HP and max hunger and saturation. Oh no, he has bombs. So yeah, he can knock you off in the water, and yes, it is actual water, so good luck surviving. If you are a fruit user, you want to be very careful in this map because it's a good way of dying. Now, water is a good way of annoying them, but they can actually swim now, so be very careful. Now, I'm not going to use Hockey on this showcase, or at least I'm going to try not to, per se. Now, against Mr. Zero, I might just, because he's that strong. Either that, well, I might just put on armor. I think that should be fine. You're able to defeat these guys without using armor, by the way. Well, yeah, you can defeat them without Hockey. And for those of you who can truly fight, you can defeat them without even using other things, such as armor, which is insane. Even I'm having trouble winning this fight. Yeah, I'm about to die. Run. I forgot I don't have meat. No! Yep, I'm dead. Yeah, so he has different phases. Yeah, I'm dead. So when you die, you do not lose your health, your door key, XP, anything. You don't lose anything. However, it does revert you back to what you originally had before you started the quest. This time I'm gonna actually go through and grab some stuff, and we're gonna try to take on some more of the bosses and try to live. Oh no. So as I was saying, the builds will get better as we work on the system. Wynn's already gone through and polished it like 3 or 4 times or more. To be honest, he'll probably correct me right after this video is released. Arlong's a bit easier, I think, personally, because he's a bit more straightforward. But he is a lot tankier. So you will have to go through and learn how to fight using these, which is really nice. So for those of you who are like, oh, but I don't know how to play this mod, the bosses will give you a slow and steady showcase of how to fight. I'm doing these in big jumps, by the way. Yeah, there's a lot more stuff you can do in this mod. You can even use it to dodge. There we go. It is a lot more straightforward than Don Krieg. Don Krieg is like so much harder. Or Don Krieg, how you want to pronounce his name. Oh, look! I got some of their clothing. Arlong pants. So yeah, you can unlock different weapons and clothing bits from the actual NPCs, which is so cool whenever you beat a boss. So, many of you probably have noticed the red skull down here. That red skull is a PvP tag, or not even a PvP tag, a combat tag. And when you get combat tagged, you can't do challenges. So like for example, you just shot me, now I can't use them. This stops players on servers running away from you and just, getting freely away. And this also goes through and stops you from just getting out of, situations and stuff where you would normally die in PvE. It's a nice counter to people who abuse the system back in the older versions. Next up, we're going to do Mr. Zero, normal. So, Crocodile. I bet a lot of you know who Mr. Zero is now. Oh no. Oh, I missed. So, As you can see, he is actually a Logia user. He has the properties of a Logia, he has the moves of the Suna Suna no Mi, oh god, and Dehydration. So you actually have to go through and learn how to fight against Logia users during the boss battles as well. So number one, you can use Karyoseki, or a more prominent way for most people, if you don't use Karyoseki on enchanted weapons or anything like that to fight, you can use Haki. So in this case, I'm only going to be using, let's just use very, very basic Haki to be fair. Yeah, so now I can actually hurt him. Yeah. So Crocodile mainly relies on his Logia fruit to actually go through and, get out of situations. As you can see, certain things won't affect him because certain moves do require other effects. On top of this, I also have Dehydration, so it's really hard to fight him. Come on, weakness, go away. Yeah, so you can't use some moves against him because he's just that annoying. On top of that, he drains your hunger really, really fast. He's switching to the other phase. Come on, fight back. Why are you giving up all of a sudden? Usually they're not supposed to just randomly give up. This is weird. Oh, there we go. There we go. So yeah, it depends on the boss fight. I don't know why he gave up there in the end. Maybe part of it's a little buggy. I don't know. See, now I'm back to what I was right beforehand. And look how much Doriki and Belly I get from those fights. There's the one where I fought Arlong, and there's the one where I fought Mr. Zero. And here's the one where I'm beating a grunt to death. But yeah, fights are extremely difficult in this, and that's just normal fights because they range from, stupidly easy to stupidly hard. Now, amongst everything, give me a second for the combat mode to wear off. So yeah, you can see which ones we've actually completed. Now, once they're completed, you cannot get the Doriki rewards back from them. It's just the clothing drops. And the best time rewards. You try to improve that. Now, these red stars for hard mode ones mean that they're on a whole different level. These three, just one red star, for example, from him, in his hard mode right here, is already better than most 2 stars, or let alone even 3 stars like Mr. Zero here. They will whip you and rip you to shreds. I guess we'll use Morgan here as an example. I'm definitely not showcasing Mr. Zero hard because, well, I would definitely die. In hard mode, you do have a training option to learn how to fight without using food or potions. The longer you take on these battles, the worse you'll get because you have so much hunger. So Morgan actually knows how to use Haki. I am not backing down with mine. Yeah, so he's quite strong. As you can see, it is a really hard fight. And that's just Morgan, and he is he's a 1 red star. He is not even a 2 star. You fight a 2 star up in here, and you're probably not going to live. Now, of course, as we get further and further in, bosses will get even harder. Now, you might be like, oh, but that's crazy. How are we ever going to defeat them when they're hitting 10 stars? Bosses will be rebalanced eventually after more bosses are added. We're not doing it right now because we want people to have proper threats, but eventually, you're going to want to go through and have really strong bosses, and we're going to have to go through and rework and rebalance some stuff. That will be a future thing after everything is done and said and done, whatever. So I hope you all like this video. I hope you enjoy challenges and enjoy the 14 bosses that are there. After all, you've only seen, I think, 3 or 4 of them so far, and not even their hard modes. You got 28 total challenges to try and beat. You can go through and restrict yourself as much as you want with no armor, or even, amongst everything, no Haki, which is insane. But it is possible, we've tested it, we have people who have actually beaten it. And I hope you like the new adjustments to fruits, the new mobs and items, new flags, a little bit of everything. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!